It's been almost a year since I started Red World's The Wild update. We have survived and thrived over 1,700 days in this Minecraft world, and so I thought it would be fun, since we have concluded this series, to take you guys on a world tour one last time to walk you through all the different cozy builds we've built over the entirety of this series. In our episode 1, we went exploring from spawn and came across our lovely dark oak forest here and decided to build our cozy little starter hobbit hole. And us choosing to live in this dark oak forest with all the mushrooms all around us kind of set the tone for us choosing to build in the hobbit hole style and incorporating a lot of mushrooms into the builds. And based on my outfit, you can tell that that kind of became a thing for this series, is having lots of little mushrooms all around and building with them. Our starter hobbit hole was a tutorial that I followed by Zapixel, since hobbit hole styles were very new to me and I wanted to learn from someone who had done it. So I highly recommend Zapixel if you're looking for tutorials for learning to build. But I have loved building in a hobbit hole style, and I've learned how to do it myself, put my own flair on it, and it's been really fun. Now we've got little potato and carrot fields in here. And then on the inside of our hobbit hole, we've got our little dog Sunflower, which we nicknamed Sunny for short. We've got our little kitchen area on the left here. And we've got our bedroom on the right with our little cat Willow that I moved over here, staying all toasty warm by the fire. In the back, we have our storage area, and surprisingly, this storage room lasted me the entire series. Granted, there's like chests in other built around the place, but this was the storage room that I lived out of. We're gonna walk over to our episode 2 build so that you can see our decorative paths that we made along the way. But in episode 2, we created a food source and we made the Cow Crusher 5000. We made this little mushroom build to kind of give off some cow vibes itself, with the pinker blocks to represent the cow udders and then the brown blocks just to represent the different cow colors. Now we put wheat fields all around because to use our little cow crusher, we come in here and we grab some wheat and then we just feed them until they entity cram, and then we get meat coming down from here, which we then can put into our smoker. Going up the ladder, we've just got a little platform here with a painting and some glowberries. But here is the bedroom that we made, just in case we need to take a quick snooze, which we've done multiple times in this world. The other build we worked on in episode 2, you can already see over there, we worked on creating an iron farm, and historically the iron farms I've made in other series just don't work for me. So I was quite proud when this mushroom iron farm actually worked. Now this is a very overgrown mushroom, but I still really like this one. We just used a lot of diorite and quartz, and we were actually able to level up a lot of our masons to get these quartz blocks, which allowed us to get our diamond armor for the first time in this series as well. But we just used lots of gray blocks, and we even used iron blocks since this is the iron farm, and I love how this turned out. On the inside, here's what we have for the interior here. We just created a nice little kitchen area, a living room area. I've since moved the beds because I'll just pick them up and move them and use them. But then we have our little friends, Hermione. Get it? Because iron block. And we've got Poppy because, well, they're holding the poppy. So these were friends we found later in the series. Up this ladder is where we can get to the actual part of the iron farm. We just go to our chests, grab everything we need here. Looks like this is definitely full. But then we can also drop the poppies in this chest, and right here is where all of the bone meal collects. So we had a really easy way to get iron, poppies, and make some bone meal. In episode 3, we worked on setting up our enchanting hobbit hole, and this specific hobbit hole design I got from Gold Robin because I wanted to try a different style, but I still needed to learn. So go check him out if you're also looking for tutorials. And on the inside, here's what we have for our little enchanting room. Straight ahead, you can see that this is where we have our enchanting room. We've got all of our barrels and things where we can get all of our lapis. We've got an ender chest, all the things you would need for a good, nice enchanting setup. Back in this corner, I actually hid a bed. I didn't decorate this more than just the little lamp and carpet and composter, but it is a nice little spot whenever I needed to take a nap really quickly and didn't want to go walk out in the dark. But then on the right, we've just got some furnaces and blast furnaces, and on the other side of this fence, we have our nether portal so we could go into the nether. I made a little kind of brewing-ish space over here and just have barrels for any of the nether stuff we just want to toss over here. In episode 4, we actually worked on building on the other side of this portal here. We created our nice little hobbit hole in the nether, and we just created a lot of just cozy decor in here because the nether is just scary, and I just realized I don't have gold on me, so we're gonna quickly put some gold on because I don't want to die while I'm trying to give you guys a nice little tutorial. We just created a nice little kind of campsite. In my next series, I'm turning off Enderman griefing because it's actually ridiculous, but we created a lovely little hobbit hole in the nether, and I absolutely loved how this turned out. There were quite a few ghasts that were trying to hit me while I was building this, and building out of wood is not recommended, but I think that this turned out great, and I'm really happy that I built this in the nether. The other thing that we made in episode 4 was we worked on creating our skelly farm and turning it into a cozy little spot. So we have our little lava source if we need to burn any items. We've got lots of furnaces and barrels all around, but this was our skelly farm. This was our XP farm for the entire series. We did a lot of slicing and dicing of these dudes, and I created a little furnace area on this side, a nice little bed, and then below is where I created a little kind of hopper chest system to divide the contents into bones and to arrows, and everything else just kind of gets filtered down here. And then I started organizing by the blocks, the bows, the armor, etc. In episode 5, we made our cute little animal barn hobbit hole, and I thought this was just a really fun way to have a different twist to an animal barn. We decorated their little courtyard here with lots of trapdoors, and lots of mud bricks. We've got little boulders, lots of hay bales lying around. They've got little water troughs as well, and a pond so they can cool off and enjoy some water. And then on the inside is where we kept all of our llamas that we named. So we have Cloudy, and back here we have our lovely pizza. Over here we've got Pasta, and we've got Sunny. And then in the back here we just decorated with a lot of hay bales. I actually sneakily put a bed here, so if we do need to take a little snooze, we got a bed there. We've got our little pulley system pulling up this flat of hay bales, and of course our overgrown vibes with the glowberries and vines. In episode 6, we decorated our dockways, and we created this little campsite right here, but we just created a little dock so that we can go off on a boat down different directions wherever we need to go. I spent a lot of time fishing over here, acquiring different materials, lots of puffer fish, but this was our area that we did a lot of fishing from, and this was only one of the 2 docks that we made. The other dock that we made was down by our iron farm, and I think this one has to be my favorite dock. The dark oak and just the little piles of iron and chests and barrels, I think just makes this look so good. But this was our little dock by our iron farm where we stored a lot of our boats. I also used these barrels to store items when I went fishing, but I just really enjoyed building this dock, and I think that this just adds such a nice little entrance to go up on the right side of these trees or the left side of these trees to get all the way up to our little iron farm. And in our episode 7, we started our villager trading hall with these 2 little hobbit holes here. The entrance is this bottom one, and on the inside we just decorated this with lots of lush green leaves and some storage areas. We have a little bed here. We have our star 2 librarians. We've got mending for 1, and we have our unbreaking for 1, because on the other side here we actually created a zombie conversion station with Frankie Jr. He likes to give tight hugs. He's great. And in between these 2 rooms, we had our potion and brewing room, and we created this portal to get into the nether a whole lot easier. In episode 8, we expanded into this room here and we created our villager breeder, and we added villagers all the way around with different trades. We kept leveling everybody up. We got the traits that we needed to. We used Frankie Jr. to give us better prices for everybody, and we were able to create a little cute and cozy room for our villager breeder, and I think this turned out amazing. And if we go down here, this is where all of the villagers would drop down into, which clearly I have not moved anybody out for quite some time, but sorry dudes, you're gonna stay down there a bit longer. But this was our little area to bring all of our villagers up and put them into place. Now in episode 9, we did some bastion exploring, and it was a little bit dangerous, but we went into the Nether and we actually created a little Nether Hobbit Hole, our second one of the series, and this was kind of our starting point just to have a little home base before we go out and explore deeper into the Nether. We also later on created a tunnel for ancient debris mining, but this was our little area to store all of our resources and just get ourselves prepared before we go into the Nether. And I think that this one was really cool. I love the block palette. Very simple, you know, we just hid it in a bunch of netherrack. We have some little vines and mushrooms all around it, but I really liked how this turned out. We also created our Strider barn where we keep all of our little Striders when we go off on adventures. Because we died a few times in the Nether in this series, I did have to use these guys, so they were great resources to have as little travel companions along the way. And coming down here, you can just see we have lots of chests and barrels all ready to go. I did need to be careful because whenever there was actually piglins that were over here, I definitely had quite a few of them get mad at me when I opened the chest, so I did need to be a little careful. To access our Striders, we just opened up these 2 fence gates, we opened up this one as well, and then we were off on our way. In episode 10, we went searching for bamboo, we came across some parrot friends, and we even found a jungle temple all before we started building up our sugarcane and gunpowder farm. And then we decorated with more of the quartz and diorite blocks to create our gunpowder mushroom. We also created a nice little gray mushroom on the side here to represent the gunpowder gray colors, and the green mushroom top was to represent all of the sugarcane. And then we just decorated around the edge with lots of sugarcane and bamboo. In episode 11, it was more of an adventure episode where we went into the Nether Fortress to get more blaze rods, we located the stronghold, and we went ancient debris mining so that we could at least make a chest plate and turn that into netherite. But the build that we did make was the inside of our panda enclosure. Now we started out with only 1 panda, but in later episodes I added a lot more pandas so that our little dude would have some friends. In our episode 12, we worked on this bridge right here, and this is probably my favorite bridge I've done. I haven't done many, but this is definitely my favorite, and we made this little dock, and we have a little froggy friend that's kind of manning our dock here. But we used lots of dark oak and lanterns, leaves, and glowberries, and even some mushroom blocks to fit our theme and make it look all cute and cozy. But the main part of episode 12 was going to the end to get our lovely little wings that you see behind me right here. And then when we came back, we were able to go and create some clouds to AFK above our sugarcane farm, which I will go and show you now. I just made 4 of these little clouds, and then this one right here is where I have a little bed and a place to sleep. But we've got our 4 little clouds. We use lots of glass, quartz pillars, quartz blocks. We used some glow lichen to light them up so mobs wouldn't spawn on them. And we can even see the bridge that we had created in this episode. In episode 13, we worked on probably my absolute favorite build, which was our stronghold room. This build I am probably the most proud of in this series just because I love the cozy vibe. It took me so long to make this, but having the frogs, the decorations, all of this with our little tree stump just looks so cozy and vibey. And then underneath here, you just flip open a trap door and that's how you get to the end. In episode 14, we were in the Nether and we were working towards making a little magma farm out of the magma spawner that's in here, and it actually is working so well. I have so many extra frog lights just left over, hanging around. Didn't even know what to do with all of it, and we even have more down here, just stocked up in extra chests because I kept on running out of space to keep them. But we then, in the next episode, after working on just the frog light farm, which we just used the green glass, lots of dark oak and leaves and greenery and glowberries, the next episode after this one, we transformed the rest of this from being a broken down bastion remnant into something that looks like it's lived in now. It looks completely restored, and this was the coolest transformation project for a default Minecraft build that I've ever done. We used a lot of moss carpets to be able to spawn proof everything so that we don't have all of the usual mobs coming in here, which ended up turning this place into a very relaxing and peaceful place, even though we're in the middle of the Nether and fire and chaos. The next builds that we worked on was actually creating all of the little hobbit holes that got dotted along the side of our hillside here. We built our 3 different hobbit holes in a similar style for our iron trading villagers, made a hobbit hole for our fishermen, a cozy place for our shepherds, a mystical hobbit hole for our cleric to do her work, our map room with all of our markers on it, our oceanographer's den, a place for our farmers, and 2 similar style hobbit holes for our butchers. The next build that we worked on was right down this path, and it was this beautiful bridge and little dock down by our cow farm. The bridge is pretty much the same type of a layout and vibe as the one a little bit further down by the gunpowder and sugarcane farm, except we did this one on a slant. And I also just used some of the same dock components that we have over there. Same format so that it feels a lot more congruent from dock to dock. But here's what we got. It's just a little diagonal bridge, and I think it's pretty cute. But we not only worked on this bridge, we also worked on making our paths look a lot prettier between everything. We did lots of leaves and dark oak fences along the sides here, just keeping everything kind of tucked in and keeping a little bit of a barrier between any monsters and mobs that might try to come out here. But we really just focused on kind of making our paths beautiful as well. And if we were on our way over here, we actually worked on another axolotl pond, and we put it in between the gunpowder farm over here and our enchanting hobbit hole. So this was the pond that we built, and I really love this one. I'll put our shaders back on. I took them off for a moment because my PC was freaking out a bit there. But this is the pond that we made, and I love it so much. I know I just said it was an axolotl pond and there's a frog in there, but we ended up moving our axolotls somewhere else and gave them a bigger place, which I'll show you later on. We also made a little way to get around from this side, where we can actually go right up to this little chair, and we can just take a little sit on our little park bench and just watch the water and watch the frog bob up and down. The next build I'm gonna show you requires us going to the end, so I'm putting on the pumpkin, which you can't see it because I have my oven turned off, but I promise, I've got the pumpkin on. And our spawn platform is one of the things we transformed. I did not spend more than an episode actually decorating the end, really, but this was beautiful to me. We made our little trees down here, a little tiny custom tree with some little mushrooms, floating end rods all around it. And then the same thing kind of on the other side, just a small little tree platform with our little mushroom trees. And I think this is super cute. I learned that you cannot actually put blocks on top of the obsidian. Otherwise, they when you come back into the end, well, it just becomes obsidian again. So that is something to note. But we just have our nice little bridge right here, and then we will hop up our stairs and go visit our other places. One of the other places we decorated was a spot to have our dragon egg, and I actually ended up putting it in the end. My favorite part of this specific tree is that the root kind of dangles off into the end, and then the chorus fruits are the little particles that you see here. I just hid them kind of inside the tree. But we just decorated this with lots of leaves and fence gates, even mangrove roots, which I think works super well with the dark oak as well. But then we've just got lanterns and end rods and glowberries just all lighting this place up, and it looks so cool. I love how this looks in the end with the shaders too. But the inside, we made a beautiful, cozy, purple themed area to match our dragon egg, and this is just beautiful to me with all of these particles falling down. We made it kind of like a mystical library book tree was kind of the vibes I was going for, with lots of amethyst and purples on the floor. We used purple to line the inside of this wall since it kind of just goes along with our dragon egg theme in the purples. Now if you'll notice at the top there's a door. And if we open this door, we can just flip this trap door down, and then we would go inside the end gate. But I'm not going in there today, so we're just gonna, leave that beep and close this door. And the final place we decorated was the portal to go back home, and I copied the same kind of stronghold pattern of just an old log, old stump, and then we just decorated it very similarly. I think this is super cozy, and literally you can just kind of, climb your way up. A lot of times I'll use my elytra and get my way in here, but then all we have to do is just go to one of these trapdoors, and we're back. And now that we're back in the overworld, the next thing we did in this episode 20 was do an ocean monument raid, which I'd never done an ocean monument raid before, and so that was super fun. We even grabbed some axolotls to help us with the fight, and I think it went pretty good. We conquered it. Once we were able to finish the ocean monument raid, we came over here and created a fallen log to hide our skeleton XP farm. So this is my little drop tunnel to go all the way down into our skeleton XP farm. I just put a waterlogged chest here as the way I can drop down into it. And then just, your usual kind of water chute is how I get up here. And I love how this fallen log kind of fits with the whole mushroom and hobbit hole kind of foresty vibes we got going on. It's pretty great. The next project we worked on was over here, and we actually decorated this giant axolotl pond. On episode 21, we focused on building these little beach vibe areas. We made little nice paths from our starter base all the way down here, and we just kind of decorated. Really, this is the second time it has started raining as I have tried to talk to you guys, so clearly this rain just wants to rain on my parade. Okay, I took a sleep, we got rid of the rain, and here's the path that walks us down to our axolotl pond. We've got our little hidden crafting table if we need to make anything. We've got our patch of purple flowers, we've got our yellow ones with our little beach towels, we've got our little chairs we can do some sitting, laying out in the sun on, and we've even got a little picnic basket next to another blanket and our little umbrella. And then on the other side, we get to swim through all of our little axolotls. Hello guys. This is just so cool, just seeing them all. I love it so much. But we've got our more red themed colors. We've got our little beach blankets with the mushroom blocks. We've got our little picnic basket, our little red mushroom umbrella, some more blankets to lay on and beach bathe. And this is what we created. We added some custom mushrooms around as well, and that's what we had made in episode 21. And after the axolotl project, we came into our bastion project and we decorated this bottom layer all the way around and that second layer up there as well that you can see. We have these little sheep farms going on both sides. We've got the chests right here, and for whatever reason, they're not really producing wool. But luckily, for whatever reason, they're not really producing wool right now. But it is okay because we got enough wool for our ancient city adventure, so it all worked out just fine. But we added a bunch of bookshelves, we added some seating, we added some looms, some storage, we added lots of hay for the little sheepies. Of course, we had to decorate with dark oak and the leaves to match the vibes. And then if we just come along this other side, we've just got books lying around so they can study, learn some things about the sheep and the animals. We've got lots of bookshelves. I added some dark oak trees to fit the vibes of our overworld. And then we just have even more hay bales and hay lying around for our sheep on this layer. Coming up the stairs, we have more of our living quarters and living room area. We've got a lot more books. I imagine that these piglins, now that this place is restored, they can actually come here and read and study and learn, and they aren't stuck in this old falling apart type of a building. So I'm imagining that the piglins are actually really smart and able to read all of the books. They can sit down and look over this beautiful place that's now restored for them. They've got lots of just books lying around to learn from, little potted plants hanging around as well, lots of seeding. They've got some more books hiding in here as well as some beehives for decoration. I also thought that some of the lore behind these bookshelves and so many just library-esque pieces of this layer could be related to them studying some of these overworld flowers compared to the Nether type flowers. I thought that could be cool. But then we've also got some seating here if they want to take a break from their work and just come and sit at the little cafe with some little mushrooms of the Nether variety and some candles. I just think it's cute. And we added some overworld mushrooms as well. Around this side here, we've just got more seating and bookshelves, hung a little potted plant here. And then right here is where we have the cooking and kitchen area so they can make some meals for themselves and just get some food going. And then I added some more Nether plants, and this honestly kind of looks like it's a heat lamp now that I'm looking at this, and I think this looks super cool. Now, another feature that I added into this build was actually something I've seen in Waxfrod's stream, and that was to use glow berries as a little vine and way to get down to different levels of a build. As we're back in the overworld, the next build that we worked on, and one of the things I think is probably my most creative in this world, is our little mushroom windmill. I am so proud of this. I love how the windmill blades turned out and just the vibes we got going on here. But we also connected our windmill up to our path here, and so if I just hop my way on over, we can just walk up our lovely little paths, which this is the path that also goes up to that axolotl pond where we have our little beach blankets and all of that. But right at this intersection is where we can kind of see that we have the wheat and the carrots, and it veers off, and you walk up this path with crops on both sides and lanterns, and you just get to walk up to the beautiful windmill little mushroom, and I think this is so cool. We also went and got a bunch of bees so that they could pollinate all the crops that we planted. We have carrots, we've even got beets, and of course we have wheat over here, and these guys just get to vibe and hang out in our area. We also added some pumpkins around the exterior to add some color and life to this area as well. On the inside, we have our cozy little storage, kind of like hay loft area with chests to store up all the food and everything from our fields. And climbing up the stairs, we've got a little bedroom place with some bookshelves, lots of hay bales, since this is largely just like a storage attic type of a space. We've got all the chests to store all the extra food, some furnaces as well scattered around, and we even have a little lounge seating area if people just want to sit and take a break from all their hard work looking out and maintaining our little windmill. This was also the episode where we created a banner to represent our area for the first time, and I think it is so cute to just have a very simple mushroom. We also put it on our shield so that we match the vibes of our area, and I thought this was super fun to have a little shield for us matching our little banner of our area. And the last thing that we built in episode 22 was we added these really cool, ooh, I landed that nice. We added these little axolotl fountain heads, and I think they're so cute. We have this one with some gray shades of building blocks, and we have this one with some white and light gray building blocks as well. We also spent a lot of time collecting tropical fish so we could breed these up, because I was hoping that I could get one of the blue axolotls. It takes a long time to try for a blue axolotl, but we just ended up with a lovely little cozy spot for all of our axolotls to swim between the seagrass and hang out together, so I would still say that's worth it. Walking from our gunpowder farm over this direction, we are coming up to our little Cat Hobbit Hole, and I thought this was such a cute and cozy little spot. There's a nice little path that comes all the way down here over by the iron farm and the docks over there, but we just brought up all of our cats over from that village and we brought them over to their little cat house. And I really like how this turned out. We gave them a fish tank as a back wall so they can sit and wash all the little fishies, which we still got this guy just chilling there. You know, he sat down watching all the fishies. He just turns around and looks at me right as I start talking about him. Yes, I was talking about you. Hello. On this side, we have a little cat hangout spot where they can just sit on their little carpets and hang out by their catnip and their little slime balls. We also have a cat climbing tree on this side, and on the other side is more of the human side of it, with a bed for a human, crafting table, furnaces, bookshelves, and a little chest. But I think my favorite part of this whole thing is having this little tropical fish tank in here with the coral. We even added some frogs that kind of hang out on top of the coral blocks and just vibe out. The other thing that's cool about this place is the flooring, and purple was definitely the color choice to match this, and I think this turned out great. Going back into the Nether, we next worked on our bastion. Oh, he just went through and he will be a zombified piglin when I go back through. But we are back in the Nether because we worked on creating a really nice little cozy bee farm and honeycomb farm so that we can have tons of little candles, and it is pretty cozy. Now inside our bastion, I added the bee farm on this top layer right here, and on both sides you can see that we have some cute little spots on the sides of it, but here's our little bees. Now we used some pink tulips and just alternated for the most part between bee nests and the bee hives, and we just kind of hid everything with some dark oak trapdoors. We used the same kind of dark oak vibes with the leafy greens like we did with the rest of this place, but we just got some vats of honeycomb, lots of candles kind of floating in the sky. We've got some leftover supplies for it all, and on the other side it's the same kind of a concept: greenery, candles, vats of honeycomb, and we can kind of just plop ourselves down here, and this is where we're able to grab all of the honeycomb, and it is pretty great to have access to unlimited honeycomb and all of the little candles. The other thing we had built in the Nether was a cactus farm, and we put the cactus farm on both sides so you can kind of tell that we have the chests and the little collection system underneath, so we can just go down a layer down our glowberry vine and come over here, and we can see that all of our cactus gets collected into this double chest here. It kind of funnels its way down into this one, and it's the exact same type of concept on this side. But I was very happy to finally have access to green dye, especially since, well, we built everything that's in here that's glass out of the green glass. And last but not least, we worked on our fisherman's hut and our lighthouse. We went and got enough wither skulls so we could fight the wither and make our first beacon, and then I decided to decorate it as a mushroom themed beacon light, and I think it fits our lighthouse that has our mushroom colors in it very well. My favorite aspect of this little fishing hut is how I use the invisible item frames with the little fishies, so it looks like all these fish are kind of just caught in the net. I think it's so cute. The other thing I think is super cute and cozy is the little campfire on the beach front with our pile of logs ready to throw on more. On the inside, we just had a lot of decorations on the ceiling mostly, lots of barrels, room for storage, bookshelves. We even used one of our extra wither skulls to decorate to, you know, remind people that we worked on defeating the wither. We've got our little parrot bamboo here hanging out. And then we walk out and we have our little overgrown bridge right here with the greens and the dark oak that leads us over to our cute little beacon. And I literally love this so much. I love that the ray is like white and red. I just think that's like the funnest thing. And on the inside, we have all of our ores, our special ones, including our diamond ore and our deep slate coal, because I thought these two were pretty rare, so I decided to hang them up. And then we've got lots of red candles or white candles with our beacon in the middle. And you know, we gotta flex a little bit with all of our ores all over the place. But that is all that we have, guys. This was our world tour. We spent 17,000 days in Minecraft building in this world, and I think this place turned out amazing. This is definitely my first Minecraft world where I've gotten very attached and just love this world so much. All of the hobbit holes that we built, building in the mushroom style was just so much fun for me. I love all the little mushrooms that are kind of just dotting up, sticking out above the treetops, and then we have our hobbit holes in between. But I've loved this series so much, guys. Thank you so much for supporting this series and this channel. If you enjoyed this series, don't forget to leave a like and comment below. What was your favorite build that we made throughout this entire series? Let me know in the comments what you've enjoyed the most, and I'll see you in the next series.